Over the years, the NSA, or the National Security Agency, has been known to be spying on people both within America as well as overseas. They've been maintaining that they're doing this for reasons such as trying to stop, terrorism and other awful things from happening, and that they maintain that the only information that they're allowed to actually view and store is information from an outside source to a domestic line or a domestic, someone within the United States. So communication from within and without the United States. Um, it's important to note that technically they're not allowed to listen to anyone uh, communicating purely domestically. So just like if you had a phone and you wanted to call another American, your phone call should not be listened to unless a court document, a warrant is obtained for your specific phone and for some government organization to tap your phones. It's the same thing with the data that you transmit online. Your information is your information, and it should not be shared with anybody else because it violates the constitutional rights of any American citizen. But a recent development, a recent software development has kind of combined to making things snowball a little bit harder in the favor of the NSA. Recently, the NSA has developed a new way of using software-defined radio. Software-defined radio is basically just a technology that allows a small chip in something like a phone or a computer with just a small antenna as well. Usually can be plugged in through like a USB or something like that, and it's a very small, very sleek thing to be plugged in, and then that device could read and transmit radio signals over the entirety of the capabilities of what is radio. Any AM signal, it could be transmitted through any FM signal, any Bluetooth, as well as more. And the software is what will define the radio length, the radio frequency, the radio, everything about it is defined strictly through radio instead of having to be done physically. It's a great thing. It has a lot of good uses, but recently it's been discovered that because of the versatility and because of the fact that the user can define something so specific, that it's kind of now starting to be understood that it can be used for reasons of hacking into other people's information and transmitting data very fast and very efficiently. Now, the full capabilities of software-defined radio include just being able to, through a USB, read the information on someone's computer and transmit it wirelessly. So take all the files and information that you have on a computer and just send them to someone else. Able to transmit data of what you're displaying, so someone could see all your files, see what you see, and in addition to that, it would be able to listen to the keyboard in terms of what keys are pressed and things like that to get things like passwords. So it's a very scary, very real technology that can, quite frankly, be used for violating a lot of people's rights worldwide. It's something that was developed for all the right reasons. It's something that originally had a very, very good use for it, and something that I don't imagine the original developers would have ever imagined that something like this would come about for what they were doing. But that's why I think that's what I'm trying to pose is, we need to, as computer scientists, be aware of the entire extent of the implications of what it is that we release. Something you think is just some small fun program that might be a part of a game can later on be used for something entirely different from what you thought. It's also important that we need to be responsible for understanding the entirety of what something could be used for. It might have seemed crazy to the people who had developed software-defined radio at the time when they developed it. If you were to tell them what it can be used for now, they might laugh in your face. But at the same time, maybe that's something that they could have considered, and maybe that's something that the world could have done without. Pretty much that's just the issue that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to be able to bring to light the fact that there are things within the computer science field that are developed for one reason and are used for something entirely different, maybe right away, maybe years down the road. It's a scary thing. It's something that can really suck if something you develop for a good reason is used for a bad reason, but at the same time, it could wind up being something great, and that's the beauty of computer science. You can develop something very small that winds up being used for fantastic reasons down the road, and that's the beauty of it. It's also it's so easy to be able to use specific code segments from one thing, translate it to a completely different use,